שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני, שירו לאדוני, שירו לאדוני. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסכו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסכו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נכתבו.
טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך העליון, לשמך העליון. ולזמר, ולזמר לשמך העליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. להגיד בבוקר חסדיך ואמונתך בלילות, בלילות. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני.
Shabbat Shalom. Nice to have you here with us this morning. The sun has come out. Hopefully it's not quite as chilly out there as it was a few hours ago. We begin our service on page 66 in our Sidurim with an inspiration for prayer. Each of us enters this sanctuary with a different need. Some hearts are full of peace and gratitude, overflowing with love and joy. They are eager to confront the day to make the world a better place. They are recovering from illness or have escaped misfortune. We rejoice with them. Some hearts ache with sorrow. Disappointments weigh heavily on them. Families have been broken. Loved ones lie on a bed of pain. Death has taken a cherished loved one. May our presence and caring bring them comfort. Some hearts are embittered. Ideals are betrayed and mocked. Answers sought in vain. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we too are searching restore our hope and renew our faith. Whatever reasons bring you here to our sanctuary or to join us online this morning, we welcome you and are glad to be in community with you. We turn to page 76 actually 77, as we offer prayers of gratitude for the health and strength of our bodies before turning to 78 to share and a blessing praising God for the gift of our souls. Join with me on the top of page 77. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch ata Adonai, rofei chol basar, umafli la'asot. Page 78.
Elohai, neshama shenatata bi torai, ata v'rata, ata yitzarata, ata nefachta bi, v'ata meshamera b'kirbi. בקרבי, מודה אני לפניך, אדוני אלוהי ואלוהי אבותי, מודה אני לפניך, אדוני אלוהי ואלוהי אמותי, ריבון כל המעשים, אדון כל נשמות, ברוך אתה אדוני, אשר בידו נפש כל חי, ורוח כל בשר איש.
Elu Devarim She'ein Lahem Shi'or on page 88. We join together, reminding ourselves of our obligations to each other, to our family, to our friends, to our community, even to the stranger, that these connections are what make our world more whole and more holy. Join with me. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. On page 106, we rise for Chatzi Kaddish and remain standing through the Shema.
יתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. ועמד יברח חירתי, וימניח מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחייך בית ישראל, בגאולה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתאמר ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקודשא בריחו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושעתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן ועלמה, ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
On page 110, we continue with Yotzer Or, praising God for the gift of creation. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer Or uvarei choshech, Oseh shalom uvarei atakol, Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechokma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha sela. Or chadash al tzion ta'ir, v'nizkech ulanu mehirat le'oro, baruch ata Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. On page 113, we read together. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And light-blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch ata Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael, be'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Please join me on page 116 with Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאת ידכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Emet. On page 123, as a prelude to Micha Mocha, on page 122, we read responsibly. The good in us will win over all the wickedness, over all the wrongs we have done. We will look back at the pages of written history and be amazed, and then we will laugh and sing, and the good that is in us, children in their cradles, will have won.
Our hearts beat with certainty that there is a day and an hour and a mountain called Zion, and that all of the sufferings will gather there and become song, ringing out into every corner of the earth from end to end, and the nations will hear it, and like the caravans in the desert, will all to that morning throng.
שבכל גאולים לשמך שפת היום יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We rise for the Amidah on page 124.
Yalalai lai 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 Adonai. Yalalai lai 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 svai tiftach. Yalalai lai lai ufi yagid. Ufi יגיד תהילתך. יאללה לי 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 אדוני. יאללה לי 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 שפתי תפתח. יאללה לי 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 ופי יגיד. ופי יגיד תהילתך. יאללה לי 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 אדוני. יאללה לי 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 שפתי תפתח. יאללה לי 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 ופי יגיד. ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, העליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומותיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. נקדש, נקדש, נקדש את שמך בעולם, נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום. ככתוב יד נביאך, וקרא זה לזה, ואמר, קדוש דור ודור להגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו מפינוי ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. On page 132, we join together singing Yismechu at the top of the page, rejoicing in Shabbat.
ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. מקודשי שבי שבת, כולם ישמעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. והשיר רצית בו וקירשת שבת, חמדת ימין אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
If you turn to page 134, I'm going to share a reading with you elsewhere in the prayer book, but we'll join together in that Chatimah, that last line of Hebrew. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Together, Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. On page 137, we read responsively. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy.
May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah.
Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near in life, in peace, and in joy.
Baruch Atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'ira na'avod. On 138, we read together. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la sim 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 shalom sim 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 shalom sim 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 shalom tova uveracha.
Please take a moment now for your own silent meditation.
Oseh shalom, shalom b'meromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom, shalom b'meromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom,
shalom b'maromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru
Seder Kriyat Torah, service for the reading of Torah, page 245. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. We rise in honor of the Torah.
En kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha, malchutcha malchut kol olamim, u'memeshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
On the bottom of page 247, we read responsively, in this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now.
Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shmo. Gadlul Adonai iti unomem Shemo yachtav. Lecha Adonai hagdula v'gvura v'tiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki cha b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki cha b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha ve'mitnaseh lechol erosh. Hinei ma tov u'mana'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'mana'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la 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 la. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la 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 la.
You may be seated. Can I have you? All good.
I was like, I need a sheet. I guess everyone else does
Oh, yeah.
too.
Super prepared. The joy of it being a small group, everybody is going to have a chance to read. If you decide you don't want to, you can let Rabbi Nathan know, but you will have a chance to read. We are in the Torah portion of Bishalach. This is the Torah portion that happens every year on Shabbat Shirah because we have the Song of the Sea, and we get to see. I know, it was a bad pun. We get to see how it almost looks like waves in the Torah text itself. And I wanted to look at what is the importance of song? Why do we have a Shabbat Shirah? Why do we have a Shabbat that is focused on music? I mean, that is our typical anyway, that we have a lot of music and we put a lot of music in our services. But this one is called Shabbat Shirah. And why? Why is song so important? So Dimitri, I'll have you start and read our text, please.
Then Moses and Israelites sang this song to the Lord. They said, I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. The Lord is my strength and might. He has become my deliverance. This is my God, and I will enshrine him. The God of my father, and I will exalt him. The Lord, the warrior, Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea, and the pick of his officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The deeps covered them. They went down into the depth like a stone.
Thank you. So it's hard to see, and I made the English in one chunk, but I tried to leave some of the spacing in the Hebrew so you could see what it looks like a little bit in Torah, but when we lift up our Torah later, you'll be able to see the text itself. So why did the people sing, right? They could have just crossed and said, woohoo, we're done. Why was song the answer? Lady Arwen or Ralph, whoever wants to read. Rashi.
When Moses saw the miracle of the parted sea, it rose in his heart that he should sing a song.
Right, so Rashi says it came out of him. It bubbled up. It was his way of saying, wow.
I resonate with that.
Right? Sometimes a song just comes to you, it just bubbles up, right? It's just
Sometimes,
all the time, right?
All the time.
So it just was something that happened to Moses. This amazing thing happened, and his automatic response was to sing. Lady Arwen, if you want to also read Bamidbar Rabbah, since Rashi was so short.
From the day that God created the world until Israel stood by the sea, there was not a single person who said a song to God except for Israel. God created the first man and didn't say,
Bless you.
And he didn't say a song. God saved Abraham from the fiery furnace and from the kings and didn't say a song. And also Isaac was saved from the knife and he didn't say a song. And Jacob was saved from the angel and from Esau and from the men of Shechem, and he didn't say a song. When Israel came to the sea and it parted for them, they immediately said a song before God, as it says, Then Moses sang and the people of Israel.
So this is really powerful, right? All of these moments that have come before this text in Exodus, there are all these places where amazing things happened, but the people didn't sing. The Israelites weren't singing. Now the Israelites were singing, right? And they felt, wow, this just had to come up, and it just happened, and it was immediate. So just a really amazing highlight of how important this miracle really was. So then how did the people sing? And Ralph, this is a long one, so if you don't want to read the whole thing, we can switch to somebody else. Sota 30a.
Rabbi Akiva taught that when the Jewish people ascended from the split sea, they set their eyes on reciting a song of gratitude to God. And how did they recite the song? In the same manner as an adult reciting Hallel on behalf of a congregation, as her reading enables all who hear it to fulfill their obligation. Thus, the congregation listens and merely needs to recite after him or her the chapter heading of Hallel. So too, by the sea, Moses said, I will sing unto the Lord, and the people said after him, I will sing unto the Lord. Moses continued and said, For God is highly exalted, Exodus 15:1, and they said once again, the chapter heading, I will sing unto the Lord. But Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Yoshi Hagaleli, said, no, the Jewish people sang just like a child reciting Hallel. The congregation who hears him must repeat after him all that he says, word for word, because the recitation of Hallel by a child is insufficient for fulfilling one's obligation. So too, by the sea, Moses said, I will sing unto the Lord. And the people said after Moses, I will sing unto the Lord. Moses said, for he is highly exalted. And they said after him the same words, for he is highly exalted. Finally, Rabbi Nehemiah said, not so. They sang the song of the sea like a cantor who recites aloud the introductory prayers and blessings before Shema in the synagogue. As he or she begins by saying the first words of the blessing, and they repeat after him the initial words and continue reciting the rest of the Shema together with him or her in unison. So too is in the Song of the Sea, Moses began and then everyone recited the entire song together with him.
So I think this is so cool, right? Talmud keeps our conversations and keeps track of them that the rabbis have over generations. And there's this discussion of how are they singing, right? So the first idea, the first paragraph is that the Israelites are repeating the chorus, essentially, right? That one line, they repeat the chorus after each line that Moses sings. The second paragraph says, nope, they repeat after Moses. So Moses does it, then they say the next line. Then Moses says the next line, they repeat it, and back and forth and back and forth. The third paragraph says, nope, Moses starts it, and then everyone joins in as if everybody knows it already. So I love this, that there are so many different ways for us to think about it on how do the Israelites sing with. And no matter what, they're participating. It's not just Moses. It is together as the entire Israelite community. So again, what is the importance of song? Why do we sing? So a really short quote from Brachot.
Music is the most, where there is song, there is prayer.
I love this. I think this is beautiful. It is definitely one of the ways that I connect to prayer the most is through song, just from a personal perspective. So I love this idea that we are able to use song as a way to connect. Do you want to keep reading there?
Yeah, music is the most immaterial and ephemeral of all the art forms. We can't see music, we can't grasp it within our hands, but we can feel it working through us and the world. As such, music represents our connection to the divine, to each other, to everything. Music is a wondrous prayer that opens up our imaginations to the divine source and of all life. To be a musician then is to be an activist of the spirit. But the music doesn't do this on its own. It requires us to react to the music, to open up, to change along with it. We must allow the sound of our singing to awaken us, to bring us to the positive action, to let song help us do our works in the world with sensitivity and grace. Ultimately, melodies are just a bunch of notes, whether they're fundamentally meaningless or transcendent depends entirely upon how we choose to listen, how we choose to direct our intentions, and whether we let ourselves join the song. Singing signals not an escape from life, but an imaginative attempt to remind us what is yet possible. Music offers us rung after rung of climb to the heavens, where we hope to discover our best selves so that we can emulate the holiness in our regular lives. Let us find our melodies and let us find our prayers. Let us bring the world to life.
So this came from an article on My Jewish Learning that says, why is music fundamental to Jewish prayer? And I just thought this was so powerful. I loved his words and the way that this was put together. And in the second paragraph, the idea that it's an activist of the Spirit, I think really resonates with this Song of the Sea, that they had just crossed. They were kind of reminiscent of our Torah study this morning, right? That they had to go and do it. It wasn't just, stop crying out to me, move forward, right? That they had to go, and the Israelites had to move forward. And they used this music as a way to say, yes, we're here, we're going to do it. Now, a little bit later, they complain more, right? That's what happens. But the power of that music and that song stirs and spurs their spirit to action. So let us be stirred and spurred by the music that brings prayer into our lives every day. Shabbat Shalom.
So I'm going to be chanting from that same piece of text. There actually are a lot of cool things about this text. Rabbi mentioned the fact that the text is laid out differently than in other places in the Torah, which you'll see when we lift it. And also in this part of the Torah, and I think only in one other section of Torah, we have some of the chanting is different than our usual Torah melody. We call it festive trope. I'm not entirely sure why, but because it's only in two places. But so you'll hear there's a sentence. I think it's the third. Yeah, the second verse. Ozi v'zimrat yah, and it will be in the festive trope. Just if you're interested in. So let's chant the Torah blessings together. They're on page 250. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Az yashir Moshe uvnei Yisrael et hashira hazot l'Adonai vayomru lemor ashira l'Adonai ki gaoga sus v'rochvo rama vayam. Ozi v'zimrat yah, vayehi li lishua, zeli v'anvehu, Elohei avi v'romemenu, Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo. Markevot paro, v'chelo yara vayam, umivchar shalishav tub'u v'yam suf, tehomot yechashumu, Yorduvim solo. Oh, that's our song. Yorduvim solot kemoaven. I'm so used to doing more. And the blessing after. The blessing after. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkach. In the presence of Torah, we offer prayers for those who face the future not fully whole. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our ancestors before us bring strength to all who long for wholeness, all those who pray to be healed. If there's someone in your life, someone who you hold in your heart who is in need of healing, think about them now. Picture them if you can, if you wish. Whisper their names out loud. And so we sing together our prayer for healing, Mishaberach.
Mishaberach avotenu, v'kol habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage
Amen. We turn to page 252. As we lift up our Torah, I invite and get ready to return it to the ark. I invite you all to rise, to stand in the honor of the Torah, and to make sure you, if you can, see the waves or the bricks of the Song of the Sea.
וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה. וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה. יא לי 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 לי, יא לי 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 לי, יא לי 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 לי, יא לי לי לי,
Page 256.
We continue with Aleinu on page 283.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם בחלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגר עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Page 289. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community and extended community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yahrzeits, we remember them. Shuri Abrams, William Alterman, Arlene Arriaga, Stephen Arrange, Morris Belden, Nancy Berkman, Cyril A. Brown, Lawrence Lee Brown Sr., C.E. Bird, Gerald Jerry Carduner, Ollie Hausman Cates, Joseph Hassan, Malcolm Cohen, Frank Cook, Minnie Davis, Joseph Harry Eisenberg, Martin Epstein, Vera Sugarman Fine, Daniel Garza, Fanny Resnitsky Gelfand, Rabbi Nelson Glick, Alice Goldhaber, Ada Mae Good, Miriam Greenberg, Nancy Hall, Shirley Halperin, Benjamin F. Harris, Francis Herrick, Eli Jackson, Hope Silber Kaplan, Joe Karotkin, Robert Kaufman Sr., Beatrice Klein, Selma Levy-Lacer, Shirley Levinson, Lillian Long, Anita St. Clair Lowe, Merle Lundahl, Clara Miller, Hannah Levy Massacre, Lola Netter, Zelda Planto Novi, Jesse A. Oppenheimer, Dave L. Pincus, Alvin Rickel, Rose Rosenfield, Mary Joyce Rosenthal, Sadie Rosenthal, Michael Schwartz, Henry Shanfield, Rose Baker Shadanoff, Max Sherman, Ernest A. Simon, Sophie Sobel, Lily Solomon, Maurice Solomon, Lizette Temple, Cloney Thompson, Marion Ungerlater, Philip Wallach, Haiti Weinstein, Leon B. Weiss, Marie Weiss, Jean White, Elizabeth Wiederman, Daniel Wright, Cecile Wolfe, and Sari Zimmerman. We also think of those who've been buried in the past 30 days, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. We remember Randy Weisner, Mary Lou Kimmelblot, Barbara Wexner-Levy, and Marty Epner. We also think of one who has who's been buried this past week, whose family is in a mourning period of Shiva. We remember Mark Herzberg, son of Rona Talmer of blessed memory, Dr. Harlan Herzberg of blessed memory, and Barbara Herzberg, husband of Ann Herzberg, father of Harrison and Haley, brother to Susan and Larry Hyman, Stacy and Rod Storm, and Vicky and Luis of blessed memory, Izquierdo, son-in-law to Tom and Pat Sheeran, and brother-in-law to April and Chris Childs, with many nieces and nephews. With all of these names and those which are in our hearts each and every day, we join together for Kaddish Yatom on page 294 as we rise together as one community. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'mei almaya, Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. Our closing song is Esa Einai on page 331.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.